Rett syndrome occurs almost exclusively in girls because it's a mutation in a gene called the MECP2 gene that is on the X chromosome. So girls have two X chromosomes, so if one is mutated, they have another one that's like a backup X chromosome. Whereas boys only have one X chromosome, and if they get the MECP2 mutation, they usually die in utero or right after birth, okay? So it's mainly girls. They can look okay in the first year and often begin to speak some words, but about a year and a half, and certainly by 2, they start to go downhill. So they regress and they lose the language that they have. They oftentimes have seizures, but they have very characteristic hand movements or hand wringing. And that's what makes you think about Rett syndrome, because of the hand movements. So it's considered another cause of autism. It's more rare than Fragile X syndrome. I think it's about 1 in 10,000. But it's more severe because many have seizures, they lose language, and they eventually lose more motor skills. Many are in a wheelchair, by mid-childhood, they're really severely intellectually impaired. So the exciting thing about Rett syndrome is that there's new targeted treatments, which is very exciting. We're studying a targeted treatment now called Anavex 2-73, which is what we call a sigma-1 agonist, which normalizes mitochondrial function and oxidative stress. And we're studying now how much better girls with Rett syndrome are when they're treated orally with Anavex. There's another targeted treatment called trofinetide. It's an IGF-1 analog, insulin growth factor 1 analog, which also helps. There's even been some girls that have come back with some language after this medication. So it's very exciting that there are now targeted treatments. Many of the girls need an anticonvulsant, and there's a variety of anticonvulsants that can be helpful. So I think for many of the families that have girls with Rett syndrome, they are very excited not only about the targeted treatments, but about the possibility of gene therapy and stem cell therapy in the future. So it's a more severe disorder than Fragile X syndrome, and it's more severe than most causes of autism because they lose language skills. There's significant brain atrophy that can occur, and it's regressive and degenerative to a certain extent. There's a few mutations in MECP2 that are milder, but again, it's a DNA test that you have to carry out, a special DNA test that makes the diagnosis. So the genetic studies are essential for kids with autism spectrum disorder, whether you're male or female, and depending on the characteristics, you may want to do specific gene testing. But particularly Fragile X and MECP2 testing, this is very critical.